Commanders fans, before we dive into today's story, let me start with this. Our team is working every single week to get better, to iron out the issues, and to make sure we're putting ourselves in position for success. It's all about growth, resilience, and building towards something special. And if you believe in this process as much as I do, hit that like button right now to show your support. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss the latest insider news, breakdowns, and updates about your Washington Commanders. All right, let's get into it, because Sunday's game against the Los Angeles Chargers isn't just another matchup. This one might be the game that shows us if the Commanders truly fixed one of their biggest weaknesses, or if it's still going to haunt them in 2025. We've got to be real here, Commanders family. Last week against the Falcons was tough to watch. Washington gave up 34 points to an Atlanta offense that, coming in, looked far from elite. The Falcons were averaging just 14 points a game before facing us, and then suddenly they looked like an offensive juggernaut. Wide receiver Drake London carved up the secondary for 110 yards and a touchdown, and the lack of communication in the back end was glaring. That loss hurt not just because of the scoreline, but because it exposed the same cracks that have been there for a while. Blown coverages, big plays allowed, and a defense that can't seem to get off the field in critical moments. And now guess what? The Chargers are up next, and their passing attack is a whole different beast. The big matchup this Sunday, the one that could decide everything, is Quentin Johnston against the Commanders' secondary. Now, most people thought Ladd McConkey was going to be the Chargers' breakout receiver this season, but instead, Johnston has completely stolen the spotlight. Through 4 weeks, he's sitting third in the league in receiving yards with 337, tied for third in touchdowns with 4, and is averaging over 15 yards per catch. That's elite production. Here's the scary part. Washington's defense has been one of the worst in the league at allowing big plays. They've already given up 20 pass plays of 15-plus yards. That's the second most in the NFL. And they've allowed 5 plays of 40-plus yards, also among the worst marks in the league. Johnston thrives on explosive plays. He already has 7 catches of 20-plus yards and over 120 yards after the catch. If those trends don't change, Johnston could have an absolute field day against this secondary. And here's the kicker. If you focus too much on Johnston, you still have to deal with Keenan Allen and McConkey, not to mention running back Omarion Hampton, who's been electric the last couple of weeks. And let's not forget who's throwing the ball. Justin Herbert is by far the best quarterback the Commanders have faced this year. Through 4 games, he's already racked up over 1,000 passing yards with 7 touchdowns. And he's doing it despite being pressured on nearly half his throws. The guy just finds ways to make plays. If the Commanders give him the same kind of time they gave Desmond Ridder and the Falcons last week, Herbert is going to light up the scoreboard. This is where the defensive line needs to step up big time. The pass rush disappeared in Atlanta, and that cannot happen again. If Washington can't generate pressure with their front 4, the secondary doesn't stand a chance. Now, here's some good news. Washington is making moves to help the secondary. The team announced the signing of veteran cornerback Antonio Hamilton Sr. to the 53 roster. Hamilton isn't a star, but he's experienced, entering his 10th NFL season. He's been with the Raiders, Giants, Chiefs, Buccaneers, Cardinals, and most recently the Falcons. Hamilton was actually with Washington back in August on the practice squad, but didn't make the final cut. Now, with injuries piling up, Mike Steinristel is banged up, Marshawn Lattimore hasn't been 100%, and Javonte Jean-Baptiste just went on injured reserve with a torn pec, Hamilton is being called back into the fold. Most likely, Hamilton will see more time on special teams, which is where he's made his career. But make no mistake, his presence provides insurance in the secondary. With the way Washington's corners have been getting burned, just having another veteran body around is a positive. So here's what it boils down to. This game against the Chargers is going to show us if the Commanders have addressed their defensive communication issues or if last week was just a preview of bigger problems to come. Can this defense tighten up? Can the secondary avoid giving up those back-breaking explosive plays? Can the defensive line actually get to Herbert and disrupt his rhythm? These are the questions that will decide not just this game, but potentially the entire trajectory of the season. On the other side, there's also reason for optimism. Jaden Daniels is back. After missing 2 games with a knee sprain, the reigning Offensive Rookie of the Year says he plans to play this Sunday. His leadership, mobility, and arm talent bring a different dimension to the Commanders' offense. Combine that with Washington's top-ranked rushing attack, and the Commanders can put pressure on the Chargers' defense in return. But let's not sugarcoat it. This game is going to be a heavyweight fight. The Chargers are hungry. The Commanders are desperate to bounce back. And the matchup between Quentin Johnston and our secondary might be the deciding factor. The Washington Commanders held their second full practice today as they gear up for the road trip to Los Angeles to face the Chargers. The team travels on Friday, so Dan Quinn made the injury decisions today, and the headline is clear. 3 players are officially out for this matchup. First and foremost, star wide receiver Terry McLaurin will not be traveling with the team. He's dealing with a quad injury suffered against the Raiders in Week 3, and this will mark his second straight missed game. Losing your captain and most reliable target is a gut punch, especially with Jaden Daniels just coming back. Alongside McLaurin, Noah Brown is also ruled out. This groin injury has kept him sidelined since Week 2 against the Packers, and Sunday will be his 3rd straight missed game. Depth at wide receiver has been tested, and once again, Washington will have to rely heavily on Deebo Samuel, Jahan Dotson, and rookie Luke McCaffrey. The 3rd player ruled out is right tackle Sam Cosmi. His 21-day practice window opened yesterday after rehabbing from that devastating ACL tear in the playoff win over Detroit. Cosmi has been grinding to get back into football shape, and while he practiced fully this week, the staff decided not to rush him back. He won't make his season debut against the Chargers. Washington still has 2 more weeks before making the final decision to either activate him or shut him down for the year. So, to recap, McLaurin, Brown, and Cosmi are out. Now for some good news. QB Jaden Daniels is back. He's been medically cleared, practiced fully today, and told reporters he's ready to roll against the Chargers. This is huge, Commanders fans. Jaden Daniels has been sidelined for the last 2 games with that knee sprain, and while Mariota filled in admirably, there's just no replacing the spark Daniels brings to this offense.
And this one is special. The rookie gets to return to his home state of California. Expect him to come out with energy, motivation, and maybe even a little extra fire to show out in front of friends and family. He'll be wearing a knee brace, but all signs point to him being 100% ready to go. Another boost for the offense. Tight end John Bates looks set to make his return. Bates missed the last 2 games with a groin injury suffered in Week 2 against the Packers, but he logged another full practice today. This is a bigger deal than it might sound. Bates is one of the best blocking tight ends in the league, and his absence has forced Washington to shuffle pieces around. Second-year TE Ben Sinnott has stepped up, and Trent Scott has been used as a 6th offensive lineman. But with Bates back, this unit gets stability and toughness in both the run and pass game. 2 names to watch closely as Sunday approaches: WR Deebo Samuel and CB Mike Sainristil. Both were late additions to the injury report yesterday. Deebo is dealing with a heel injury, while Sainristil has a knee issue. Both missed today's practice again. The good news? They will travel with the team, and Dan Quinn is giving them the chance to show they can go in Los Angeles. If Deebo can't suit up, that's a massive loss. Without McLaurin and Brown, this offense would be dangerously thin at wide receiver. It would mean Jahan Dotson steps into the WR1 role, Luke McCaffrey gets another major workload, and the tight ends would become even more important. Defensively, losing Sainristil would hurt a secondary that's already had its share of bumps and bruises. He's been a spark in the slot, showing physicality and energy, and if he's not available, it'll force Joe Witt Jr. to reshuffle. S.A. Kehoe, the undrafted rookie, is still in the concussion protocol after a hard hit last week. He was limited today, but it might not be enough to get cleared for Sunday. S. Percy Butler was limited again with the same hip injury that kept him out last week. His availability is still very much in doubt. DT Darren Payne was limited with a knee issue, but he's expected to push through and play. DN Dorrance Armstrong bounced back after an illness yesterday and practiced fully. Linebacker Nick Bellore got a vet rest day yesterday, but is still on the report with a quad injury. T.E. Colson Yankoff has quietly been practicing fully the last 2 weeks despite being listed with an ankle injury. The bottom line, this roster is banged up. Commanders fans, here's where we are. Jaden Daniels is back, John Bates is back, but Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, and Sam Cosmi are out, and we're on Deebo Samuel and Mike Sainristil watch heading into Sunday. This matchup against the Chargers is a tricky one. Justin Herbert can light it up, and LA has weapons on both sides of the ball. Washington needs its playmakers healthy, and right now, the roster feels like it's walking a tightrope. But here's the thing. This team has been built to fight through adversity. Dan Quinn has drilled resilience into this locker room. Jaden Daniels gets his shot to lead again, and that alone injects energy into this group. Commanders fans, here's the truth. The loss to the Falcons was ugly, but it doesn't have to define this season. Every team gets punched in the mouth at some point. What matters is how you respond. This Sunday in Los Angeles, Washington has the chance to prove that last week was an anomaly, not a trend. If the defense can contain Johnston and force Herbert into tough throws, if the pass rush shows up, and if Jaden Daniels gives this offense the spark we know he can, then the Commanders can absolutely steal this game on the road. But if the same issues pop up, if the secondary continues to miscommunicate, and if Herbert gets comfortable, then we might be in for another long afternoon. So I'll leave it to you, Commanders Nation. Do you believe this defense can hold up against Herbert and Johnston? Do you think Antonio Hamilton Sr. can bring stability to the secondary? And how confident are you in Jaden Daniels making a big return on Sunday? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading every one of them. And don't forget, hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown and subscribe to Commanders HQ so you're always locked in with the latest news, rumors, and analysis about your team. We're in this together, and no matter what, hail to the Commanders.